I look at your resume in my head, because I've never seen your own resume in your own handwriting, but I think some of my favorite things, like David Wilkie's Mandolin Kid record, and that album you did with Eric,
Right.
Bruce Miller's album, even the stuff you did recently with Jess Lee, you did stuff with Ian Tyson when he moved back here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really interesting, I mean, the Cheech and Chong thing.
Right.
It's been a really interesting and varied career.
Well, it adds up when you start looking back at it, but while you're doing it, you know, I mean, I always thought that there was something out there ahead of me. You know, I didn't know where I was going to end up. I had no plan. You know, it's not like I never planned it. And when I started and when I wanted to make it was the days of when, you know, anyone that had a record deal was a millionaire. You know, that was the way bands thought. You know, oh, he's got a record. He must have be. You know, must have. When I get a record deal, I'm going to get a Rolls Royce, and that's what I'm putting in. You know. But yeah, like you know, I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, and there's two ways to be there. And one's starving, and the other, you know, one day you make it. You know. But at that time, I because I was so diverse, you know, I was still playing an open tuning or, you know, folk kind of guitar playing and writing the odd song. And I used to live with this guy in LA, and we always thought we'd make it, you know, and we do a lot of walking in LA, which nobody does, right? And the police in Los Angeles, they used to see us walking for hours. What are those two guys up to? Like, we're the only people on the street, you know, nobody walks in LA. Everybody's in their car. You know, but we used to go because we were living on. We had a grapefruit tree and an avocado tree, so we'd go down and get a bag of bagels and eat grapefruit and avocados. So you always have dreams that you're going to make it someday. You know? I always did. I didn't know exactly where or when. You know, I rejected a lot of stuff because I have this, you know, kind of a odd sense of humor. Cheech and Chong had made it, and they're the ones that put me up after I left David Foster. You know, they said, no, you got to stay in LA. So they put me up, and they kept telling me, you know, come and see us play. I went to see them play, so they said, well, I guess you see we're doing a lot of your stuff. And I said, yeah. But I don't want any money for it, man. You know, just introduce me to some great musicians. That's all I need. So, oh yeah, okay, well, we'll do that. But they always were pushing me to do a comedy album, and I said, no, I'm a guitarist, man, I'm a purist, you know. And, but anyways, you know, the years go by, and you don't get the hit, and you know. And then you get a little bit, one year, boom, Tommy came over, and he wanted this song that I was doing. So he put Cheech and I in the studio, and we recorded this song. And I was doing an album in New York with Ayrton, Billy Cobham, Stanley Clarke, all the jazz guys. And so I hired Ayrton to play on this heavy metal kind of rock team that I wrote with Cheech. Well, I went to New York, did an album with those guys, and I came back to LA, actually from New York. I remember coming off the plane after 2 months in New York, or 3 months in New York, and I was like, okay, I gotta go, I gotta go to the country, you know, I gotta get over this part here, you know, and the heat hits you and everything. And these surfer guys picked me up at the airport, and I went, I gotta go, let's go to the beach. But anyways, I came back to Canada, and because I missed my family, and I came back to see my Uncle Jimmy and Uncle Gordon McGregor there. And the guy from A&M Records phoned me and said, I need your birth certificate. Oh, why is that? He says, you got a hit. You got a million seller out there. You got the number 4 record. We got to get it played in Windsor and Toronto, so they want proof that you're a Canadian citizen. You know? So I went, wow, I opened up Billboard magazine, and there it was, number 4 record. Earache my eye. A wonderful ballad. That tune is outlived me. It's been covered by 6 heavy metal punk rock bands. So it makes me feel good, you know. They copy the guitar solo and everything right to a T. So I guess in some ways I've written a few classics. It taught me a lesson. It taught me a lesson about if you're going to do something good, it's going to be around for a long time. And I hate doing things the wrong way. Like you know, sacrificing artistic things for time or, whatever reason. Okay, it doesn't have to be that good, or no, it should be the best that you can do, and it will endure it for sure.
They'd all be somewhere that somebody cared, but nobody knows they even living down there. Old lady walking with a sack in her bag, picking up garbage people put out back. Stay down there trying to walk the line, you trade her soul for a bottle of wine.
Going way back, I can remember actually the very first time I met Gaye. We'd both been hired, I never knew before, but we had both been hired to do this particular CBC show. We played a large orchestra, and I showed up. Gaye was already there, kind of standing up, trying to get comfortable. And then we started talking a little bit, and I realized that he couldn't read music. But we had these charts, and we had to do it, so I kind of gave him a few hints about what it was about. But of course, as soon as he heard the music go by, one time he knew what to do exactly. And so it wasn't obvious to anybody else that he couldn't read, but I was able to help him out. And he played, he was such a great player that I sort of had heard of him already because he had moved to town not too long before. So it's kind of intimidating anyway to meet him. But we got through the session, it was a few hours, we did whatever we had to do. And then we wound up, I'm sure you were there too, we wound up sitting on Wayne Kozak's front stairs.
Doing more drinking.
With a couple of acoustic guitars, and we played, we just sat and played together for about 2 hours. And it was incredible. It was an amazing way to meet him. And kind of get a sense of his talent and who he was as a person. And then I guess our relationship went on. I didn't work with him really a lot, but I was fortunate enough to play on some of his records. And we had a great time. We had a great time in the studio. We had a wonderful way of bringing stuff out of people. He didn't really tell you what to do. He would kind of, he would hire you because he liked what you did, and then he would just kind of turn you loose and let you do what you do. And it was, I guess he was like that with most of the players he worked with. Just kind of tried to bring out the best, and just by what he was doing, it was just very inspiring. I don't know.
It worked for him the same way for you, Doug.
Yeah.
He said it many times.
Is that right?
Yeah, he said it many times.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Mutual Admiration Society.
Yeah, we did kind of share something along those lines. I don't know what else to say, except he was an incredible inspiration. And, well, of course, later on tonight, we're going to recreate some of Gaye's music down at Yale. A little bit of homework, and it's going to be a good set of a lot of stuff that probably a lot of you know about.
And how does that line go? Get off the stage.
Get off the stage, yeah. Blank.
Do we have to say blank?
Well, no, you don't hear, but.
Thanks, Dave.
So the well, come and join us. We'll
Yeah.
have a good time.
I'd like to ask Wayne Kozak to come up. Thanks, Dave.
I have known Gaye for 50 years. Goes way back. So I thought I'd just sort of tell you about meeting Gaye and my first musical experience with him. It's quite fun. So I remember meeting Gaye because we used to go to junior high schools in Edmonton, and he was, I guess he went to the Catholic school, and our schools were kitty corner. And every day I used to walk past his school, and he'd quite often be sitting on this little rail fence that was in front of the school on the lawn. And at the time I was playing trumpet in the school band. It was the first music band program in Edmonton. And I was failing miserably because I just could not get myself around playing the trumpet properly. But I was walking by and Gaye would be sitting there on the fence, and so he was carrying a trumpet case, and he'd say, "Hey, what you got there?" You know, and he'd raise his eyebrow, just like he always does now, or has done all these years, you know. Okay, you know, raised eyebrow. Famous Gaye DeLorme raised eyebrow. But so, you know, I told him I was playing music, and he was quite intrigued, and I'd walk past his school every morning. And eventually I switched over from trumpet to saxophone. And I think that intrigued him even more, that because I actually liked to play the saxophone. And I started to get somewhere with it, and got my first 4 lessons, learned how to play a C scale, and joined this band in Edmonton. It was called Vern Austin and the Twisters. And it was 2 guitars, 2 saxophones, and a trumpet, no vocals, and the typical songs like da 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 da. That was it. But it was anyhow. Gaye was green with envy. I think he wanted nothing more than to play music, but he didn't. He wasn't playing guitar at this point or anything, and so he convinced me to see if I could get him into the band. And so I arranged the band rehearsal that he could come to, and we did it at the trumpet player's house. There was a piano there. And Gaye wanted to come and play piano in the band. Well, we started running through some numbers, and Gaye was at the piano. It was obvious that he had never played the piano. So it was a complete disaster. That was my first musical experience to get. We were, I think, 15. So, yeah. Anyhow, I didn't. I hadn't seen Gaye for many years after that. I guess he was in detention centers, or running with some bad folks, as Howard said. And then through that time, I started playing with another band in Edmonton called Privilege, which was I think one of the better bands in Western Canada at the time. And somewhere along the road. Hans Stamer came to sing with that band, and we used to play at a little club down by the university called Zorbas, and it was near where Gaye was living at the time. And somehow, Hans and Gaye and myself would get together, and we started to realize that Gaye was this superb musician all of a sudden. And it wasn't all of a sudden, but for me, from the piano to the guitar was a big leap. And so we started hanging out, and it was fantastic. And my heroes at the time, I was trying to, I wanted to play like John Coltrane or Jimi Hendrix, and of course, Gaye was playing like Jimi Hendrix, and there was a lot of communication. But anyhow, so we decided at one point that we thought we could play some music together and get something that was above the club band and so on. So Hans Stamer and Gaye and myself and Kenny Passarelli, who had come and played with his band up in Edmonton, as you heard David say, that he had gone up to Gaye, gone up to him, and so we invited him up from Colorado to come play this band. We decided we'd all go to Vancouver to do it and stay in Edmonton. And that was the band Gaye. And absolutely tumultuous, fantastic, mystical experiences.
Very strong.
But it was fabulous. And then Django split up, and I didn't see Gaye all that much. We run into each other now and then. And the last time I ran into him was a couple of years ago at Cellar Jazz Club. And so every time we did meet, it was like we'd always know each other. And as we parted, he always would say his usual, "Wayne, I love you, man." And so tonight, Gaye, I love you.
She's trying to get out there and find her freedom. She's singing sailor.
I am honored to be in this
opportunity to speak of the memory of my dear friend Gaye and his many, many lifetime achievements, and to celebrate his memories forever. I also thank you for giving me the time to heal both physically and emotionally from the trauma of illness and loss that has been life. For those of you who know me well, I do not have to explain the strong bond of love and true friendship that Gaye and I will always share. Sorry. Gaye and I met in the early 70s in Calgary and very quickly became the best of friends. Then in the 80s, we both moved to LA. We always had such fun together. We met so many interesting people in our adventures. Just to name a few, we partied with Harold Robbins, the author, with Cheech and Chong, and we casually met people such as El Giro and Timothy Leary, who I spent 4 hours with poolside, and Timothy Leary wasn't dead. Yet I'll never forget the time that he had Columbia Studios open up just especially for Dee Lapingwell and I. He opened it up for us to have a shoot, the best shoot we ever had ever, right, Dee? However, I will mostly remember our times together sitting till the wee hours, whether it be in clubs or in our home or with my family, or with my kids or my grandkids. And there I'd be drinking the best red wines with him and crying because he was so amazingly talented. When Gaye was diagnosed with diabetes and began to lose his sight, he showed up at my home in Caristyle one day looking so forlorn that I immediately moved him into my spare room. It was a tough time for both of us. He was going blind and in denial, and believe me, and let me point it out, not easy to live with. Trust me. But we made the best of it for 2 wonderful years, and at the same time we worked on a federal arts council grant, and he put out Beautiful Guitar, which will always be one of my favorites. I want to thank you so much, buddy, for caring so much that you made calls to our closest friends before you left. You were worried about me. That's just like you, Gaye, you bitch. As he would say, we've been through a lot together, and even through our toughest times, we soldiered on. The hardest times strengthened our love and friendship for each other. I will love you eternally.